forget our comrade in arms, from whose fallen hands we have taken up the sacred cost of freedom. Today we consecrate unto you the debt of our national gratitude, which is their rightful due. Keep sacred their sacrifice in our hearts. Keep holy our course in your sight. Enkindle within us a flame of selfless, unwavering devotion to duty, that we may never be found wanting in those qualities of spirit and mind which alone are able to preserve health and home, the peace of our nation, and the tranquility of the world. We earnestly implore thee. May the day soon come when we lay down arms and more earnestly give our attention to do justice, to live in kindness, and to walk humbly in peace in your sight. Amen.
On behalf of St. Mary's American Legion Post 323, I'd like to welcome you to the 2021 Memorial Day ceremony. The greeting will be by the Mayor, Patrick McGowan.
Thank you and good morning. I want to thank everyone for participating in this solemn ceremony. We're here to keep the memories of those who served and history alive. It's very important to remember that. It's not a big picnic day, it's to remember our fallen heroes and those who have served. We are also here to honor the families of those who have served because they sacrificed as well to protect our freedom. In 2020 and 2021 have been tumultuous years for everyone, and with civil unrest and pandemics. Everyone has an opinion regarding these subjects, but when you think about the sacrifices of our past current heroes have made, do you think that they would approve of all that's going on? I think it's time that as a country, the United States unites and finds common ground to work for the benefit of all people. The City of St. Mary's remains committed to our servicemen and women and veterans. The city has an active participant in Lots for Soldiers. We're the only Purple Heart city in the area, and we have a current workforce that exceeds 15%. Always remember those who have served us, because their sacrifices were grievous, which benefited all the citizens of America. Remember, nations that forget its defenders will soon itself be forgotten.
Next we'll have a speech by Leah Brackman. Leah will be a freshman at St. Mary's High School.
Memorial Day. Why is it so important? Well, let me tell you. Memorial Day is a day in which we will remember all of our servicemen and women who have made the ultimate sacrifice and given their lives in order to protect our country and our freedom. For that, I am eternally grateful. I am in awe to think about how dedicated and unselfish these individuals were to give their own lives for freedom of others. These people are heroes, and they have earned their right to be honored. As I think about these individuals, I wonder what other sacrifices our service men and women have made for our freedom. Sure, most of us understand that our veterans have had to give up time at home and with their families. They have traveled to other countries to live, work, and stand up for our freedom in less than ideal conditions. However, many of us don't think about how everything our veterans have missed while they were away. The special occasions, loved ones' birthdays, weddings, anniversaries, vacations, and holidays with the family. This list only scratches the surface. Imagine how many of our veterans could not attend the funeral of a loved one. How many have missed the birth of their own child or their child's whole first year of life? How many milestones in their child's lives have taken place while our veterans were away protecting our freedom? Now more than ever, our civilians can relate a little better to the sacrifices made by our veterans. Recall a moment that you had given up and the hardships that you had to endure over the past year due to COVID. Remember the loss of freedoms to enter a public building without a mask, to attend school in person, to hold a social gathering and sporting event, to see and hug loved ones. Certainly, you recall the physical and mental anguish that you had to endure, and unfortunately, we all know someone who has lost their life too early as a result of the common enemy. You can very easily liken these sacrifices to those that our veterans have chosen to make an effort to defend our freedom. The difference being, however, you would have to multiply the hardships and loss that you endure and the length of time in which you endure on an exponential level to even come close to the amount of sacrifice that our veterans have chosen to make in order to protect our freedom for nearly 2.5 centuries. Put yourself in our veterans' shoes. Think of a moment when a strain of this type of devotion would put on your personal relationship, not to mention your mental and physical well-being. So why, then, would anybody willingly choose to give up so much? Well, fortunately for us, and by the grace of God, our veterans have foresight to realize how invaluable our freedom is and the fortitude to protect the gift for us and for the future generations, despite all that they had to give up. Knowing the sacrifices that our veterans have made to protect our freedom, I cannot imagine recognizing and respecting them. After all they have done for us, the least we can do is celebrate our veterans, both those who have given their lives for our freedom and those who have made so many other sacrifices. We also need to show our gratitude to their friends, family, spouses, and children for their strength, support, and sacrifice while our veterans were away protecting our freedom. On behalf of our entire country, I would like to recognize all of our veterans, those who have fallen, and those who are with us today, for your gracious gift. We value your selflessness, dedication, foresight, and determination. Thank you for our freedom, our country, the right to choose how we live our lives, and for all that you gave to make our lives better. We greatly appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, Liam. Now I have a patriotic tribute by Memorial High School Band. Our next speaker is Jetta Van Gundy. Jetta will be a sophomore at St. Mary's High School.
Thank you for being here today, and let me just say it is an honor to stand before you and talk about something I am passionate about: remembering and honoring the sacrifices of our nation's heroes. As the great-granddaughter of 3 World War II veterans, I possess great pride and appreciation for their countless sacrifices made to serve our wonderful country. Brave men and women who serve our country selflessly are true American heroes. Memorial Day is a day unlike any other. Since 1868, Americans have come together in communities, cities, and towns to place flowers and flags on the graves of those who have given their all for the preservation of our country. Today, I only ask one thing of you. Please don't forget why we celebrate Memorial Day. We gather here to honor our veterans, the few who were so willing to sacrifice themselves to defend their country. But there is a difference about today. Memorial Day isn't just about honoring veterans. It's about honoring those who have lost their lives in battle. Memorial Day is the day we as a country come together to honor and remember our servicemen and women who answered America's call to service and paid the ultimate price. Memorial Day is the time for America as one to stand up and say, "Thank you. We remember you. We are grateful for you and we appreciate you." We remember our fallen, we honor their loved ones, mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, sons, daughters, and friends. Every year, families of the fallen are joined together and bound by loss in a way many of us can't even begin to imagine. But military families are something special. We don't have a word for a parent who has lost a child serving our country. Webster's and Oxford dictionaries leave us searching. So these mothers and fathers of our fallen military call themselves Gold Star parents, based on the tradition of the service flags that hung in homes during the World Wars. Each blue star on the banner stood for a loved one overseas, while gold stood for those never coming home. We remember and we thank you for your sacrifice. It's daunting to think of the tremendous sacrifices survivors and veterans have made, physically and emotionally. Our men and women who serve are an extraordinary selfless group. They fight as a team and look out for one another till their last dying breaths. There are no words, just actions. So take the time not just today, but every day. Take a moment to say thank you to our fallen. We must hold them up in our hometowns and honor their memories for those who never left the battlefields. We should spend time reflecting on their service and sacrifice and live in gratitude every day for the gift they have given to us. As a nation, we made a promise to honor our fallen. We keep this promise by strengthening the programs and services that our injured and ill veterans rely on. We thank our veterans by fighting for them when they can't and ensuring they and their survivors get the care they earned when they wrote a blank check to America for, up to and including their very lives. So please, spend some extra time with your loved ones and step back from the daily stresses and reflect on your freedoms that so many heroic soldiers died to protect. I ask you to remember why you have the rights and freedoms we enjoy in America today. We don't know them all, but we owe them all. Thank you to all who serve our wonderful country. Thank you to all those who died serving. You have gone above and beyond the call of duty. We are truly the home of the free because of the brave. God bless America. Thank you.
Our guest speaker today is Pastor Rick Shear. Pastor Shear has served as lead pastor of Living Hope since 2014. He's ordained by the Assemblies of God.
Good morning. First thing I want to say is thank you to the community. Thank you to those of you that are participating in a day of honor of our veterans. And second and most importantly, I want to say thank you to those of you that have served our great nation in the military. And I want to say thank you to those that cannot even hear us saying that today because they've given the ultimate sacrifice. Today, as we stand here and honor those veterans that have kept our freedoms, that have provided the opportunity for us to be able to do what we are doing today, is something that we must never forget. It's about legacy. We are a nation of legacies. We are a nation that still honors legacies. And legacies are something that have happened in the past that brought us to this point, but legacies are also something that starts today that takes us to the next generation. I'm honored to be a grandson of a World War II veteran, but I'm also honored to be part of a family that each one of his brothers served in World War II. All 6 of the Shear boys from New Bremen served in World War II honorably. And I'm honored to have that part of my legacy. I now serve God in my church, but I also serve your community as your police chaplain. My daughter is now continuing the legacy as she serves in Shelby County for the Shelby County Sheriff's Department. These are not necessarily military services, but they are services to our community, to our state, to our nation. It's a legacy, and it's about legacy. Today we are emerging from probably the greatest crisis ever known to the freedom of the United States of America. And I'm not talking just about the pandemic. We've had political crisis. We've had moral crisis. We've had racial crisis. And we are emerging from this because of the legacies of this great nation. We are passing on to the next generation legacies that we are beginning today. I'm honored to be part of today's ceremonies. I'm honored to be part of this great community. And I'm honored to be part of the family of the United States of America. I've always believed that we are Americans first. We are Americans first. And Americans stick together and defeat the crisis that comes towards us, that comes at us. Memorial Day began honoring those veterans that served on both sides of the Confederacy, of the Confederate War, of the Civil War. Whether you were on the Union or whether you were part of the Confederacy, the honor is still there because we are all Americans. And today we have the opportunity to continue that legacy, start that legacy, and be reminded that we are all Americans today. I want to end with this. There's only two people I know in this world that will sacrifice for someone else. The first is Jesus Christ. And Jesus Christ spoke in John 6:35 through 40. Jesus said to them, I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me shall not hunger. Whoever believes in me shall never thirst. But I told you that you have seen me, and yet do not believe. All whom the Father gives me will come to me, and he who comes to me I will never cast out. For I came down from heaven not to do my own will, but the will of him who sent me. This is the will of the Father who has sent me, that of all whom he has given me, I should lose nothing, but should rise up, and at the last day, this is the will of him who sent me, that everyone who sees the Son and believes in him may have eternal life, and I will raise him up on the last day. That's the first person that sacrificed everything for each of us. The second person I know of is the U.S. soldier. They sacrificed the same thing, that none of us would be lost in this nation, that we would be reminded of the legacies that have taken place day in and day out, the legacies of the sacrifice. When someone joins the military, they do not do their own will. They do the will of the military to serve the nation which they are serving. Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr. in 1884 gave a speech honoring Civil War veterans, and the speech title is In Our Youth Our Hearts Were Touched with Fire. His speech was given in Keene, New Hampshire, 2 decades before he became the Supreme Court Justice. He was honoring the Americans that had fallen during the Civil War. And Holmes elaborated in the meaning of Memorial Day. And the quote begins, So to the indifferent inquirer who asks why Memorial Day is still kept up, we must answer, it celebrates and solemnly reaffirms from year to year a national act of enthusiasm and faith. It embodies the most impressive form, our belief to act with enthusiasm and faith is the condition of acting greatly. As we gather here today, I believe that we still are a nation that acts with enthusiasm and faith, and that we can greatly honor the legacies of those that have gone before us. As we stand here emerging from our own crisis, being reminded that we truly are Americans first. Let's give our veterans a hand today. let's give our great nation, the United States of America, a hand today. God bless the legacy that has come before us, and God bless the legacy that will continue because of our acting boldly today in 2021. Thank you.
We have a patriotic tribute by Memorial High School Band. Tribute by Liberty Minky. Liberty honored guest speaker. Liberty graduated with honors from New Knoxville High School. Earlier this year, she competed and was a state winner in the American Legion Oratorical Contest. She plans to attend Xavier University this fall.
Upon its ratification in 1788, the Constitution of the United States became an irrevocable contract between the people of the land and their government. This structure for the American government specifies the guaranteed freedoms for her citizens. Our Constitution was written with the focus on securing the blessings of liberty and limiting the power of government. It not only prevented the possibility of a future tyranny, but it guaranteed this new nation a democracy, a nation where the people have a say in the laws of the land. The very foundation of the success of the American experiment lies within our indivisibility. The culture of America is built on a land that is under God and indivisible. We have an unshakable determination to work toward a more perfect union that is equal to all men and women, regardless of ethnicity, religion, or economic status. This new nation and its new ideas, where the people are more important than the government, did not come easily. Our country's roots lie in its men and women binding together to stand for its freedom. A freedom that was earned by the blood of men and women who believed in this nation's people, believed in her ideals, and believed in the freedom that she has offered. These ideals have not gone without challenge. The United States of America's dynasty is no stranger to attack on its democracy. The threat to our republic and the freedom that our nation offers her citizens has been made very real many times. We have been tested time and time again from both the outside and unfortunately from within. But one thing remains consistent. One thing sets us apart from other great nations, and that is the people of the United States will always rise to the occasion. We do not shrink back and we do not cower. Our land is beautiful. We have majestic shorelines, glorious landscapes, magnificent mountains, and ornate monuments that pay homage to our history. And all of those things provoke a sense of pride. But that is not what makes the United States stand out unique and special. Her people are what make her great. The tenacity and determination of the American people is what makes her special. The spirit, the united American spirit, is what makes the United States stand out from other great nations. This young nation of ours has seen days of glory, and she has fought through days of darkness. She has seen economic ills. They've come and they've gone away because the American people have proven themselves to be persevering people. We have learned to own the earnest times and have vowed to do better in the future. This country has made mistakes, but she always overcomes because her people believe in her ideals, believe in her promise, and believe in her future. That's our heritage. That is our story. Today, the noise is loud, but we must seek out beyond the noise. We cannot let our vision to become so narrowed that we can no longer see the true spirit of America. The preamble specifically makes it known that one of the main reasons for the purpose of the Constitution is to ensure domestic tranquility. We must look further back than our current state that lacks camaraderie. We must remember what so many left their homes for and what many gave their lives for. We must think of our ancestors and of our future generations. We won't look at this time of challenge as an impossible mountain that isn't worth trying to climb. We won't stand at the bottom looking up, but we will fight to the top because that is where the best views are. Our determination and our love for this nation will carry us through. The path isn't going to be easy. It is not perfectly paved, and this is not a job for the faint of heart. But that is okay, because we are Americans. We have learned from the echoes of our past, both the triumphs and the air. We see hope for our future. We adapt and we move forward, but we never surrender. We are committed to this nation. We are committed to our democracy. And above all, we are committed to our belief in the promise of America. Thank you.
Hopefully you're not disappointed because I can't top that. 30 years ago, America engaged in a new war in a volatile region. Iraq had invaded the sovereign nation of Kuwait. It was an act of aggression that could not stand. The United States led a coalition of 35 nations with a bold and clear mission to liberate an occupied country. Among the 500,000 U.S. troops deployed to the Middle East was Army Specialist Cindy Bowdoin, a freshman at the University of Connecticut. Specialist Bodwin enlisted in the National Guard and served as a medic with the 142nd Medical Company. The Hartford court reported that the young specialist had a chronic back condition that could have kept her home from deployment. The daughter of a Vietnam veteran, Cindy, would hear none of it. "Of course I'm going, silly. I couldn't let my best buddy go off alone," she told a friend and fellow service member. On February 28, 1991, just hours before President George H.W. Bush declared a ceasefire to end the Gulf War, Specialist Cindy Bodwin was killed in action after a convoy struck a landmine. She was only 19. Like many soldiers going to war, Specialist Bodwin wrote a letter to be delivered to her parents in the event that she didn't return. "I did not come here to be a hero," she wrote. "I came here because my country needed me to be here. As much as I hate being so far away from home, I am here with thousands of other soldiers helping to bring down the very deranged tyrant. If I should die while helping to achieve this, then I did not die in vain." Cindy Bodwin did not die in vain. Neither did any other American who we honor on Memorial Day. Nonetheless, wars are often unpopular. There is a good reason for this. It was Union General William T. Sherman who said, "It is only those who have neither fired a shot nor heard the shrieks and groans of the wounded who cry aloud for blood, more vengeance, and more dissolution. War is hell." But we should always remember that the decisions leading to war are those of policymakers, not the veterans themselves. Sometimes the mission is clear-cut. In World War II, millions were liberated and truly evil regimes were toppled. And that's why we're here today, to recall not just the memories of Cindy Bodwin, but to honor the sacrifices made by the 1 million heroes who died while defending the country since the American Revolution. And that sacrifice is painfully shared by the Gold Star families and close friends of these heroes. Most of us will not truly understand the depths of their despair unless we have experienced it. But we can always offer our support.